Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirisho here, and now, before we do get started, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, Deku, all work and no play, has led to him feeling a little cooped up. He's been micromanaging the family and trying to trust people. He's had some people already modified and looking into traitors of the Yagi family. The people who Deku has already dealt with have been disposed of. And the Yagis, they've realized Deku is cleaning house. He has heard that some people, they've wanted to come after him. There are people who think Deku is irresponsible, too young, or is power crazy. They can have their own little opinions on him. But those making plans to come after him or his loved ones, Deku, he's had them killed. Toga, Toru, and Froppy. These three, they have been somewhat integral in discovering these operations, along with people with truth-telling abilities and Miss Midnight. They've been working together. She's been overseeing the deep clean from the Yagi family. Meanwhile, Deku, he's been trying his best to deal with things as the boss. What free time he does have, he does spend hanging out with some friends, trying to undo this knot of anxiety he does have in his gut. He talked to Bakugo and Kirishima and concluded he does finally need to step into the underworld in the Masquerade, a place he's had business with before. He was a slave fighter. This time, whenever he does go there, however, he is going there as not only a powerful person, but the boss of the biggest family in Japan. Deku is definitely going to need to do a deep clean, because if anyone ever finds out who he is, they're going to try and kiss his ass as much as possible. He knows how these events do go. Certain items you do wear are color coded. And whatever color you're wearing does show your status. It does mean quite a bit. Basically, if someone's wearing this color, do not mess with them. They're either associated with the family or a freelancer. Their mask, it does hide their identities. All of them know the rules. Play nice, get into an argument with someone, and you get thrown out. If something does happen, you'll have to pay a fine. Depending on if this is your first, second, 47th time, yeah, you can be banned and barred from other events. And potentially, other third parties will be informed not to do business with you. Whatever you do at the masquerade may affect badly on you, badly upon you. You can make certain things disappear with money, sure. But other things that the masquerade does not want on their grounds? Yeah, you're playing by their rules now, buddy. Now then, Deku, he is currently posing as Mr. Wolf. And whenever he got into a vehicle, people were quick to try and talk with him, make potential connections. However, without knowing he's Izuku Midoriya, they started gossiping about the night. Certain things that might be out for sale, and the conversation turning over to him. Everyone feels like they might have a gun pointed in their temple. Because Deku's reputation, oh boy, does this shit have some nuts in it. There are many rumors going around about this man. Did he rise up from hell? Is he actually as dangerous as people say? They know he's done a lot of things. Is he a man-made Nomu? Can he be reasoned with? I mean, there are already rumors about Deku laying his hands on quite a lot of women, and his harem? Yeah, it does mean a bit. Someone even talked about him potentially having dirt on Mandalay or Ryoko. Why else is there a relationship forming between a boss and a subordinate from another family? Different factions. Now, Deku, he did try to join in on this conversation, though his bias was clear. Right now, he does go to walk out of the vehicle and stare up at this massive building. He was already given floor plans and told by Ayama about what's happening. The place is big. It's beautiful. It's meant to be fancy. It's actually built in a Yagi territory. Though, this area is more of a business district. So there's that. Mr. Wolf. Someone walking out. And a number of heads do get a turn. Deku seeing a sea of clothing. People in black outfits, red outfits, and white outfits, along with purple and even some in green. It does mean quite a bit. Their mask, they all do a turn looking at him. Some are clearly wigs, some are over-exaggerated, and some do fully cover the face. Deku's mask does cover the front of his face, and cover most of his, well, proportions. Along with the wig he does wear, you shouldn't be able to tell his real identity. However, face paint was added, and Deku, he does feel like he's getting dressed up for an actual party. It was encouraged to wear the face paint. He knows that some people here might be heteromorphs, in disguise. He's heard about it before. They do allow heteromorphs here, though if they're too mutated, it may bar them from the high society. Though, Deku doesn't really care about that. The man walking up and bring up a hand, expressing with a bow, it is lovely to meet him. Raising back up. He does want to welcome him to tonight's event. Please come along. There are quite a few things that are happening, and the party, it is getting started. Deku going to nod, and walking in. When he does get to do so, he does look around. Right now being led over to a table where someone with an ice quirk, they are making sure the glasses of champagne, they are properly chilled. And another person with multiple arms, they do work on pouring as many bottles as they can into as many flutes as they can, making sure this lineup doesn't run out of drinks. And the two, they are talking back and forth, coordinating with each other. And Deku, he is handed a chilled glass. The person bowing as Deku does raise his glass to the person. The faceless, well, attendant. Him going to walk away as the man does guide him through the crowd, expressing, a lot does happen here. Tonight's events do mean quite a bit. Quite a bit. The fact is, he can mingle with a lot of people, sit at the bar over there, or, well, he can just chat. There are a number of people here who would love to make connections with him, perhaps even do more. And you're not worried about spies. Mr. Midoriya, factions don't matter here. You could come in other colors, or, well, wear patterns. The multicolored suits are the masquerade. Right now, everybody wearing black, they should be a member of the Yagi family. Everyone wearing white, well, they should be a member of the other families. Or they could just come as themselves, anonymous, other colors as such. You've chosen to represent yourself as a Yagi. We're on your territory. Next chance we get, maybe we can perhaps squeeze you into a different color suit. Perhaps blue. Or, well, no. The white would clash with your mask. You're certain of this. And who would this be? Someone going to bring their hand up. Right now, grabbing Deku by his arm and expressing, "Easy there, Mr. Wolf." He might trip, though he should really pay attention. Deku turning to the woman, and a few people do together around. Him turning and seeing one wearing a black dress. And he does go to nod. Her nodding back at him and expressing, "He seems new." "Yes, mademoiselle, he is new. Mr. Wolf here, he is, as you do know, a Yagi. And, well, I do have to say, it has been a lovely conversation. I do hope, however, I have led him to the right crowd. Now, I will go. There is quite a lot of things going on for tonight's events. And, well, the auction, it still needs to get underway." The man walking off. And they do to watch as his shoulders do visibly relax. Deku watching Ayama leave and going to turn back to the group, expressing, "That was relatively boring. Must be important." "I wouldn't say that. I've been talking about coming to this event for a while, and, well, they've been trying to drag me here for a minute. Though, tonight definitely does seem like a perfect night for it. You picked a hell of a time." A woman with pink hair does the say. Deku, his eyes do drift up to her mask, and staring at the rabbit ears that are on it. Her expressing, "Tonight, the boss, the Yagi family, is supposed to walk among them." Him looking at her. She's in pink. Nice dress. It does mean quite a bit. Him turning to another woman, who does talk about it. It should be really cool, though. I mean, not much really happening. The auction might be boring, but she knows that the fights are good. Though the music, it's gonna be so-so. Freelancer? Yup. Her going to raise her glass. You can call her heartfelt. That's really all. She does like music, but I mean, high society shit doesn't really fit her. Though the champagne's nice. I can't blame you on that. What about you? I'm having a little bit of fun myself, but can't really complain. You know, good company. I feel that. But there's a lot going on from what I've seen. Him looking around, and hearing someone mention his name, turning back and letting out a sigh. It seems like this entire event is focused on Mr. Midoriya. One of them going to tense up. Yeah. I mean, can you blame everybody? The woman stepping forward. As the witch, she does go to approach, leaning forward and telling him, Apparently, Mr. Yagi and the masquerade have a bit of history. He was a prize fighter, a slave. Many people think that tonight, if something goes wrong, he may dispose of the masquerade. You really think he'd do something like that? I don't know much about Mr. Midoriya myself. I actually have met him. Deku's staring at her face. Her eyes look a little familiar. Though, he certainly would remember those things. Her face, though. Her eyes. Her chin? It's a good mask. Her going to somewhat give Deku a cheeky grin, expressing, stepping back, and bring her hands up in front of her. He shouldn't stare. It's very rude. Perhaps not. Though, him looking around. There is quite a lot of things happening, and a lovely woman is keeping him company. He'd say it's impolite not to stare. Well, at her face. Anywhere else, it's just plain rude. Though the lure of a lovely woman. With that mask on, I wouldn't call her lovely. The witch. Wonder who she could be. And who are you? Clockwork. Not too bad. The event means quite a bit. Someone walking back over. And Deku does a look at the guy with a new mask. He has... What the fuck? What is that? He's the airhead. I mean, that thing, it's so weird. I wouldn't call him an airhead. Does it get cold in here? Oh, shut up. Yeah, I lost my mask. They didn't get the pattern right, so it looks off. Hell, I don't even really want to wear this thing, but if I take it off, well, it didn't paint my face, you know? Really? You didn't? I did not. So we can't take these things off, right? We could. But if you met someone, you might run into them. Deku turning and looking around. He does try to look for the people not wearing their mask. They've either clipped them to their belts or set them down. It feels almost like a carnival. He does a turn to see two men with guns on the table. They look like they're talking business. But it's kind of hard for that to be a thing when one of them is covered in fur and they look almost like a skeleton. Huh. Right now, they do go to comment. Now, through a loudspeaker. Tonight is going to be quite a miraculous event. They do have the intermission going to end. In 5 minutes, they will have their phones buzz. Afterwards, they will be told about where to go. Members of the Yagi family, they can have separate rooms. Right now, they do have the highest position here. And well, anyone accommodating them, they could be given similar treatment. It does mean quite a bit. The Yagis, they will get the high society for tonight. The others, however, tonight will be a little bit more in the common area. And Deku, he does hear about that. Someone expressing. It does seem like they get the Colosseum. Though, what about you? Hiding up in the rafters, Yagi? Seems like it. Can't complain though. Though I could potentially use the companionship of some lovely woman. Which, I'm not gonna say no. Yagi stick together. Besides, I'm still working through some champagne. It does seem that way. Why ruin it though? Clockwork? Airhead? Really? You want to pull that? Yeah, it's alright, right? It does seem so. Though Deku turning his head and looking in a direction, walking away and going to approach a table, and they do to watch that. Right now, Deku does go to step in front of a man sitting there, him conversing with a few people and eating some food. And he does it express, bringing his right hand on the table and bending down. Does he mind if he does see his phone? Excuse me? The man turning and seeing a Yagi. Do you mind if I see your phone? I caught something just a minute ago, and I'm curious if my mind is playing tricks on me. Just because you're a Yagi doesn't mean you can boss me around here, bud. You know who I am? I don't. That's what the mask is for. I see. Well, I'll have you know, I'm, well, the Jolly. The Jolly Fat Pig? The man trying to glare directly at Deku. And a number of people, they do to stare at him. Him turning to the woman, who very clearly doesn't want to sit next to the man, informing her. She's aware that the guy's taking photos, right? Fact of the matter is, the man jumping up and going to tower over Deku. Deku looking up as a number of people, they do it a turn. The man beginning to yell. And Deku, he does it a grin. Before he does go to put his leg forward, smashing into the front of the large man's knee. And the man, he does have his leg bend backwards and fall forward. Deku stepping out of the way and turning. Looking at the woman who does stare on, wide-eyed in shock. And he does express. They're both Yagis. And well, he does believe that that's good. Harassing another member of this establishment, he's fairly certain that that's a bit of a strike, isn't it? Turning to the other two, expressing. Now, would they like to retaliate, attack him? As far as he's aware, this is a personal transgression. And the man, he did want to try and use intimidation. I'll have you killed for this. No, you won't. You're a Yagi. I'm a Yagi. The boss will handle this. Though I'd say my connections are better than yours. You two. Collect your friend. I'll pay a fine, and I'll even foot the bill for his medical care. Find a healer. Go. Him staring at them. And when the man is pulled to his feet, someone does go to approach him, informing him with a bit of trepidation that is not something that he should have done. Him turning and going to hold up a phone, talking about the guy and his indecent behavior towards the woman. Turning to her, expressing. The man's quirk is stealing things, correct? Yes. Ines. Her approaching and expressing, whispering in Deku's ear something. Him nodding his head and informing her. He thought that was the case. Right now, him gonna hand her something that he does have in his other hand. Him watching her face turn bright red as she does get a quickly turn and walk off. Him expressing, snapping the phone in half. The matter is now dealt with. Send him the fine, he'll pay it. And a number of people, they do just stare at him. Him walking back over to the crowd he was a part of and express, well, that certainly was a bit of fun, though it was annoying. You really just break that guy's leg? Quite bold. You know, 2 more acts like that and I didn't kill him. Besides, Letty can attest to it. As far as I'm aware, he might be a sleazebag. He's a Yagi. Oh, I'm sure I'm in higher standing than him. Subordinate family, probably. Though, I'm gonna be fine. His phone going to buzz. And expressing. It does seem like it's time to go see some fights. A number of people going to try and approach Deku, since very clearly he's not someone to mess with. And someone they do even whisper about the man's ability. They think he might be Izuku Midoriya. But I mean, as far as they're aware, when the man turns on his quirk, he's surrounded by lightning. There was no lightning there. Or maybe it is him, and he actually is enhanced. And someone they do go to fall in stride with him, the witch, asking if he really did see something. Creeper taking panty shots, yeah. Then again, it should all work itself out. Hold up. Him turning, seeing somebody else who currently is in another suit. Them expressing they'd like to join him. It does seem like tonight is going to get more interesting. Does he mind? I don't. Though we're not sitting below. I'm aware of that. I would like to sit above as well. I can even pay. No need, no need. No, just don't hog the drinks. Him going to nod. And they do to pile into the room. The conversation being about the incident that happened earlier. And he does hear a few jokes about it. The fat bastard toppled like a sack of bricks. Like a fucking house of cards. Like dominoes. I mean, hell. The way the guy looked down, realizing his leg was backwards, I mean, shit. The pudgy bastard probably didn't even have time to realize it. Hell. I mean, a big guy like that? You'd think he'd be more aware of shit like this? I mean, he wanted to get aggressive. And he just fucking kicked his leg the other way. Deku roaring with some laughter. As, right now, a server does set down a tray of drinks, handing some of them out as he does go to turn. Looking at the bunny, who does go to turn her head looking at him. Him going to raise his glass and turn to the witch, who's sitting next to him. Airhead talking about it. Who do they think is going to fight? I don't know. Clockwork does get a say. I've heard that we might have some Yagis in the house tonight. Though officially, we don't know who's backing them. We might have some other people too. Maybe. No, I did hear that we got some traitors. So whoever might be a part of the other families, well, they might as well be Yagis. Or freelancers. Don't like freelancers? Oh, don't get me wrong. It's a respectable job. I was on my own before I Uh, well, you know, before you went along with him, got pulled along for the ride. No, trust me, I know how to ride. That came out wrong. I hope so. Not a fan of the male persuasion. No. My persuasion lies in the fairer sex. I see. Well, there's something quite fair about. Hmm, never mind. If you don't want to hear about it, then I won't chat. Fine, diva. The man going to raise his glass, expressing. The drama can be fun. That's what tonight's supposed to be. A play and a show and plenty of drama. And so far, he has given them the biggest piece of gossip so far. Exactly who is the wolf? Could he be Izuku Midoriya? Deku smiling, bringing his hand up and going to grab his mask, pulling it off of his face and going to stare at all of them. His face is covered in paint. He does have contact lenses. And he does go to turn. Right now, his wig, it does move along. He does express. Does he look like Izuku Midoriya? I mean, he's been told before he could pass for him, but I mean, he did have to change a few things up. He still has yet to get some work done on this, but I mean, it's his face. Plenty of women like it. I mean, especially when he does wipe off their seat. And some people do get a laugh. Right now, him turning to the witch, who does go to scrutinize him with a gaze. And Deku does go to make eye contact with her. She's the only other Yagi in the room. And he does get a turn, winking at her as he does get to put the mask back on. Talking about it. It does mean quite a bit. Though, her turning and going to whisper directly into his ear. What's his favorite food? Him turning and looking at her. Him going to lean over and answer into her ear. The burger. And she does go to scrutinize him a bit more. He's an actual Yagi. Though, the fight's starting. The bunny going to somewhat hop forward and go to lean over the railing. Her roaring out for one of the combatants to kick his ass. And he doesn't look down. Right now, he does go to see a man who does have multiple arms. Large, bulky, body almost rock-like. And he does a turn and hear about how the Leviathan is fighting the Challenger. And that it does certainly mean a bit. It does seem like tonight will be quite an interesting fight. Everyone, they do get a roar out. Right now, some talking about the bets they might be having. And Deku does get a turn, intrigued to know exactly what some people have bet on. Though he does go to hear another whisper in his ear. Who is he? Him turning and looking at the woman. Before he does go to lean forwards and look at the witch. The snout meeting her wicked nose. Right now, he just wants to have fun. He's nobody. Can she understand that? Her nodding her head, leaning forwards a bit more, and telling him. She can. But if the boss finds out he's impersonating him, he won't be too happy. He has a reputation. I never said I was Izuku Midoriya. I just said we look alike. Now, witch. I would be very careful. Besides, it's a nice evening. Nice night. Wouldn't you say? Just relax, enjoy yourself, and let's all have fun. Amen. Someone going to talk about it. The tension between them is amping up a bit. Do they need some privacy? I mean, hell, they can leave. And Deku does bring a hand up, waving it away, talking about it. She was just talking about his acts of heroics out there. And she does a lean forwards, talking about it. The old perv's been like that for a while. It's good that he actually finally had some sort of comeuppance. He tries to harass women. I mean, hell. He tried doing some shit to her a couple months ago, and she almost got kicked out. She put a gun to his head. You didn't pull the trigger and get banned? No way. Not in my life. Her going to roar out for what's happening. And another server does come by and go to set down some food. Right now, them being given plates of food that were provided. That have been provided. And the battle, it does end with a challenger being knocked down. The champion does still reign supreme. It was an interesting fight, though it does have Deku thinking about it. The Leviathan was long range. He does have some abilities that do make up for close range. The challenger, though, mid to long range. Get in close, and things become a bigger problem for him. Yeah, he can try and hide in the dirt, but yeah. In a prolonged siege, that guy seems better suited to fight. Hell, he's halfway to being a damn Nomu. Though, he's wondering what kind of quirks you put into someone to make that. I mean, hell, the dude's a beast. This going through Deku's mind. And the intermission, it does go to start. Everyone chatting about a few things and going to leave. Right now, they've got 10 minutes. They can use the bathroom and deal with a few other things. The arena will be reset, and the next fight will begin. And for Deku, he does go to walk away. He does go to be stopped. Right now, someone reaching out and grabbing his sleeve, informing him. She'd like to chat for a minute. Everything alright? Yeah, Deku does I say. Just, gotta deal with some stuff. Take it to the bathroom, you two. Them walking around the corner. And the witch does get a fully turn, looking at Deku, expressing, whoever he is, she's met Mr. Midoriya before. One of her close acquaintances is actually associated with the man. Now, if this is going to be a problem, then Deku going to watch her step forward and bring a hand to his chest, getting ready to poke a finger into it, and he does to bring his hand up. Right now, him going to spin her around and throw his hand against the wall, leaning forward, putting his entire forearm on it, telling her, right now, he doesn't want to play games. He wants to be left alone. If she thinks he's pretending to be the boss, he'll tell her one thing. He's not pretending to be anybody. He's heard a lot about that guy tonight, and he does not want to hear more. Hell, is that so much to ask for a night of peace and quiet away from gossip? Does she understand? Her going to stare back. Before Deku, he does feel something poke into his leg. her talking about it. She would be very careful about his next move. If he does have a reputation, well, he wouldn't want to lose it. Creation. I'm sorry? Hi, Momo. Him going to look back up at her, expressing, it's been a minute. Boss. Her dropping the blade, and immediately trying to back away, though her back is already against the wall. And she does regain her composure. You're actually here? It's you. Grab my tie. Her nodding and going to grab his tie. And Deku, he is pulled down forward more, as there is where someone does get to walk around the corner and express. And they can't believe the fight, though. The guy was, oh, I think we're in the wrong place. You certain? I mean, they look like they're having fun. I'm certain. Do they even realize we're here? I don't think so. Deku pushing Momo against the wall. And they do get a whistle. Right now, Deku pulling away and turning. Going to grin. Talking about it. Kinda busy here. Really? We only have a few minutes left. Don't have anywhere else to be? Not at the moment. Apologies. Her turning, grabbing Deku's tie and going to turn. Running off. Though she does stop and turn, walking over and bending down to grab the blade. And this does get to surprise the two. A weird couple, apparently. And they do try to blend back in. But Momo has several questions. And Deku, he only has one. That was a lot. Anyways, right now the two, they do have a small discussion. No one is supposed to know he's here. The rumors are true, yes. But apparently the auction, it really did have information leak. That's not good. Deku and Momo, they do go try and find the others. And when they do, there is a bit of a back and forth. They heard some people caught a fox guy and a witch. Well, let's just say 2 seconds away from the floor, getting busy. And it does generate some laughter. Right now, there is the fact that Deku does take another glass of champagne. And he does just mention that it does appear that him and the witch, well, they are familiar with each other. Very familiar. I'd say handfuls of familiar, am I right? I would say so myself. Not too bad. Not too shabby. You're right. Him going to grin. And the night, it does continue. A few more fights do happen. Right now, Deku does even see Kirishima out there in the brawl. And he does look a little anxious when the man is put on the back foot. Though, Kirishima, he does hold his own. It isn't too bad. Then again, he's thrown his own couple punches at the guy. He wants to be hit hard. And well, Deku has obliged. Him winning his match. And Deku does look down, seeing his friend who does not shamble away. Unbreakable skin. An unbreakable spirit. And well, Breakable bones. Yeah, it does mean quite a bit. He looked like he was having fun. He knows he needs to avoid telling Mirako about this place, but yeah, they probably wouldn't even let her fight. Bakugo's match does come up, and unsurprisingly, he does get a win. Deku does even see the advancements in his quirk. Dr. Ujiko, he certainly did provide some bonuses with those upgrades. And it does mean quite a bit. Hours do somewhat pass by. And the crowd, they have been fed well. And they do going to talk about a brief intermission in order to categorize the items. Along with that, they do have some things that they are well aware, many of them have heard rumors about. The auction tonight does feature items from the collection of Mr. Midoriya. Many of these items, well, some are from Endeavor's former collection, and others, they are from the man's actual collection. Though, he would like them all to know tonight, these are not the only items up for sale. Do not feel free, please feel free to spend their money and not to be too stingy. Bids on those items may range in the hundreds of millions. And Deku, he does hear some people laugh, though he doesn't laugh. Hundreds of millions of dollars for items at the masquerade. That is a lot. Some of the people here probably can't even get $1 billion. Though, that would be if the bosses aren't here. But he's fairly certain he did spot someone here tonight. Though, they didn't talk much. This place is being held in Endeavor, former Endeavor territory, Yagi territory. Best Jeanist. Funny enough, he believes he spotted him. Then again, not a surprise. There's a lot of people here who he may actually be familiar with. He knows he's seen plenty of these Yagis. The guy he dealt with earlier was one. Some of the people he did talk with, they're more obscure, harder to place. They're in that point of being off enough to not be well off enough to be known. It does mean a bit. They're at the right spot to stay camouflaged. And the auction, it does gotta begin. Deku does sit there, beautiful woman on his lap, and hearing a few different things. Right now, Bunny does somewhat talk about it. So what do they think that they're going to be auctioning off? I don't know. I'm curious what this Suzuku guy put up for auction. Probably nothing special. You shitting me? Endeavor, he made it a fucking objective to collect trophies. I hear in his early days, all he did was hunt for sport. Didn't All Might do that too? Yeah, but when All Might did it, it shook the stage. I mean, half of Japan in a week? Isn't that right? Something like that. Yeah, so you kind of understand why it's more impressive. Along with the big guys back then. Fair, I guess. When Endeavor did it, he already had the area, the platform, the power. I heard back then he was just trying to prove himself. Way more ruthless than ever. So you think time softened him up? Oh, fuck no. I don't think that shit ever leaves you. Explains why his son was so psychotic. I'm sure it does. Him going to look somewhat annoyed. And Deku, he does sit there with his wolf mask off. Right now, him looking down as they do begin to announce certain items. Some things don't look too impressive. Battle suits, people he's never heard of, this, that item. Oh, a painting. That's something. It gets sold and then passed over. There are certain things that Deku he does hear about. Some do catch his attention for a brief second, and then they do get a pass. And then he does hear about one item. Well, they would like to announce the Crystal Cadaver. This item, well, it was someone who did have a bone quirk, unregulated growth, and they fell in battle. Funny enough, this person, they maintain their statuesque appearance. Him going to have it be unveiled. Talking about it. The side of the skull blown open. This right here is the killing blow. It was very impressive and, well, they do have to say, when this was cleaned up and returned to them, they found that it was all welded together. Calcified, even. It does mean a bit. Bones as hard as steel. And, well, look at it. It might as well be a living monstrosity. Body covered in crystal-like growths, and just look at it. What is the starting bid? They are willing to start at 100,000. Deku hearing the bid climb quite rapidly. The crystallized bones of some dead guy. Not a bad option. Though he does look closer. And he does get to see it. He looks like he's wearing a battle suit. So it does actually look like a guy. But then it looks like it has claws, growths coming out of its arms. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. A pretty impressive quirk. Though if the guy had a bone quirk like that... Wait a second. Is his actual skeleton inside of it then? Or is this just his skeleton? Huh. That's certainly something he's curious about. 200 million! Deku looking down, hearing some ardent collector throw out a price tag like that. And he does get to hear people talking about a few things. Someone expressing. Going once, twice, sold! And the person does get a roar. Deku looking down at the mutant, a little annoyed hearing that. And then he does get to hear about the next item. The cadaver being pulled off stage. The next item was made using the remains of, well, someone. It was quite interesting. But they do want to express. This item does have either a strange mental effect or their quirk was just that odd. A temporal anomaly, some call it. But they do like to call it something simple. The fourth dimensional painting. Right now, a picture of it being brought on screen. A video playing and showing off how it does react. And Deku does it a stare. It's like an optical illusion, but I mean, it looks like it moves. That's pretty. Starting bid is 10 million. Deku bidding. And everyone, they do to look and see what he's doing. It's not a surprise. Hell, even Airhead, he wanted to throw out a bid. And he even did so, talking about it. 15, 20, 30, 35, 40. The bid climbing higher. Deku, he does not concern himself throwing out large numbers. Though Airhead, he does look a little annoyed doing so. And there is even more clockwork. He does throw out a whopping 100 million. Him turning with a grin to Deku. And Deku, he does look back. Before bidding 200 million. And people down below, they do get a silence from that massive jump. And there is even where someone does talk about it. That sounds like quite a bit. Don't worry about it. 225. 250. Deku does it a shout back. And wait. No murmurs do pop up. Going once, going twice, and sold. And Deku, he is happy to hear about that. He wouldn't exactly call himself a collector, but these items do seem very nice. Now, Deku, he does hear about a few other items. Though everyone, they're quite curious as to how Deku has that type of money to spend. I mean, he's connected to the Yagi family. Is he a lieutenant? Or is he, well, the boss? Some people looking at Deku a little bit more intrigued. Though he does wave them away. Talking about how he does have money burning a hole in his pocket. He's got nothing to spend it on. And he does look at that. Right now, hearing about another item. The Mask of the Dream King. And this Deku, he is intrigued about. One look at it, and it's... not that impressive. Him hearing rapid descending into bedding. Even Bunny does go to someone jump in. Her yelling about what she does want to pay for that. And the betting, it does quickly end. Bunny, unfortunately, was outbid. It went higher and higher, and unfortunately, no. And that, it did make the woman sit back down and somewhat grumble. Her annoyed and talking about how, damn it, that thing is a good item too. She even heard about that guy. Have you? Yeah, get this. Back in the day, he was a bit more of a serious threat. He's one of those guys who he was rising up to power and wrong place, wrong time, and blam. If he would have lived, he could have been a pretty powerful boss. Infiltrate the dreams of people and uncover all their deepest secrets. Do you have any secrets, Mr. Wolf? Her leaning herself a bit forward. And Deku does maintain a look into her eyes, expressing, bringing his hand up and tilting her chin to meet his eyes. He does have many secrets, though she really shouldn't play with the wolf. She'll get the teeth. And he does get a grin. Her meeting his gaze and trying to read him. And Deku, he does a turn back, hearing, this one is another particular item they may find interesting. The Black Reaper's cloak. The room erupting. as they know this is a collector's item from Endeavor's former collection. And well, this item is in possession by Mr. Midoriya, who he is here tonight. Now, they do want to open the bidding for this item. Starting bid, 50 million. And Deku does a stare at that. Quite intrigued. Right now, him hearing the bidding climb. 70, 80, 90 million, 100, 200 million, 250, 300 million. And Deku, he does look down. It's kind of funny seeing some of these people bet, though he also does get to hear quite a bit from the other rooms beside theirs. 400 million, 405, 410, 412. Him hearing about how they will be only increasing in the accrements of 5. Deku hearing a growl of annoyance, and going to then turn and ask if they think it's gonna reach 500 million. Not certain. It looks pretty impressive though. I mean, damn. Deku looking down and staring. Right now, the skeletal remains of a man. It does sit there wrapped around in a cloak and a battle suit. It does look pretty. He will give it that. And the bid does get a close. Before he does to hear about another item they're putting up for sale. Right now, they're putting up the life and death, well, skeletal remains. Deku confused, hearing about how the piece is called Life and Death. Right now, a body covered in flowers is brought out. And these things, they do look real. Only finding out when someone is going to talk about it, it is. This is how the body was found. The flowers were preserved, and they were even altered slightly to try and keep their color. They are dead, along with the skeleton, but it is what they do symbolize. Life and death together, meeting in a fucked up tapestry that looks so beautiful. And Deku can't help but just stare. It is a rather odd piece. It going to be sent off. And he does gonna watch it go. Another item coming up. They call it the spider web. Deku watching it be brought up, hearing about how this piece was brought in from overseas. And they do have to say, it is quite a lovely item. Deku seeing what looks like a insectoid humanoid in the middle of a web. And it does look like he is reaching down to grab something. But his hand, it's locked firmly in place over something he can't see. And Deku does a stare. Unimpressive. Huh. Not so good. The item being bid on and sold. And then Deku does get to hear about the next item. Him fighting a grin as it does to come up. Another item from Endeavor's collection. Or, well, his. The head of the Poisoned King. Something that it is quite volatile. It was sealed in a case. No one knows who the man's body is. All they do know is Endeavor wanted it preserved, though he was in for quite a bit of a surprise. The head does remain in its case. Its wounds are still there. Its body filled with toxins and poisons that even decay does not want to touch. Bacteria can't kill the remains, if even then they don't want to die. It has been rotting away, slowly, however, losing that fight to time, though in way better condition than it should be. The man's still recognizable, and the bid does start high and only climb from there. And Deku, he's already waiting on one item in particular he knows might shake the stage when it does come out. Now, the bid for the item does climb up to over 500 million. This is a rare collectible item, since it will last forever. I mean, hell. Finding something like this in your collection that doesn't need to be maintained is good. A decapitated head in a sealed box, that's nothing. I mean, hell. This, it's a treasure. And Deku, he doesn't pay attention to who bought it. Though, he does gotta wait more. Conversations do pick up. And he does gotta watch as shards is brought out. Him watching the item and going to see it. As people, they do get some ooh and ah when lights do get to hit it. And Bunny, she does go to jump for it, immediately throwing the bid to 100 million. And Deku, he does get a chuckle. Them turning to him, her pouting and talking about how she'll get the damn item. Hell, she's willing to make this go 150. Damn it. Her roaring out 200 million. And people, they don't even have time to increase their own bids. Trying to think about what deranged collector is after that. And Deku, he does get to watch a new war break out. And it does climb high. 350, 375, 380, 385, 390, and that is where Bunny, she does get a give. Her annoyed and going to somewhat slam her face down on the banister. Her talking about it. Damn it. It looks pretty too. It really does. Even I have to admit that. I can get it for you. You can? I could. Though I do have a better item in my own collection. Something way better than that. You do? Yes, though unfortunately I won't let you have it. But I'll buy that item for you. For a date? A date? What do you say, Miss Bunny? A date. That sounds good. An expensive date. Miss Witch does get a say. What about her? I'm fine with it. I do have quite a bit of women in my life. You're a womanizer? Oh, he treats me well. He has been so far. Besides, you saw at display earlier. You're running out of time. Her glancing down. And she does begrudgingly accept. Talking about it. They'll talk more about this later. Deku throwing out a bid for 450 million. And the crowd, they do go silent. The person looking that way and staring directly at Deku. Then he does a nod at them to close the bid. After this crowd is not responding. And he does express, "Well, that does sound rather good." He does have to say, maybe they can pick somewhere nice to go. He does know a lovely place, but he's not sure where she's from. They should iron out the details then. We can. This next item, it is our last item of the night. Now, truly a piece from the collection of Mr. Midoriya. In fact, you could say Endeavor had a hand in this piece. But I'm gonna smile. This can truly be considered the last treasure Endeavor ever had his hands on. And right now, they do unveil it. Them going to give it the title, The Left Hand of the Horseman. And the room does fall dead silent, as video footage of the fight does go to play. And it does go to show off Endeavor throwing Deku and taking off his arm. And he does stare at that. Some people, they do roar out with this, as another video does go to play. Deku holding the item in his right hand, expressing that this is the genuine article. He saved it because he thought it would be a nice little thing to keep around. But he's selling it because he's heard that collectors, they do want these things. And hey, first event's gotta be special, right? Why not let his own items be out there? Though this is the original, Deku holding up his left hand. This is the clone. And they do go to start the bid at a whopping 70 million. It only climbing from there. And Deku, he does sit back and watch the money roll in. As there is where someone does come on stage, handing off a note to another person. Meanwhile, the bidding war does continue to climb. 100 million, 200 million, 125 million, 300 million, 350. Everyone wanting a piece of the horseman. And Deku does watch on with keen interest. Right now, someone turning, asking if he's not going to bid on that item. Not sure. Seems tempting, but pretty useless paperweight. You certain of that? I think so. Besides, I've already spent quite a bit tonight. Well, I could beat people to death with my wallet. I've already spent a bit more than I'd like. Trying to impress someone? No. If I was trying to impress someone, I wouldn't use my wallet. Really? From what I know, he has a silver tongue. He knows my friend. How does he know her? Well, they are an item. Really? Sly dog. Trying to go after the rest of her friends? Some of her friends don't like me. Though a few of them, Deku patting Momo on the back. They do. This lady here, in particular, does. In fact, well, they should probably go out properly on a date at some point. How's her family doing, actually? Are they still in a situation? They've been better. Thanks for asking. Need help? If it's not too much of a bother, I can do that. I'll see what I can do. Though number, her nodding, and quickly going to reach out and grab her purse, writing something down and going to hand it off to Deku. Him going to slide it into his pocket after giving it a glance. And he does get a turn, talking about it. They can probably fix her situation. If things do get a little too dicey, her nodding. And he does a turn back to the scene. The item, it sold for over $542 million. And that it does sound ludicrous. Though, they are paying Mr. Midoriya for this item. And someone they do get to walk up on stage. Sorry to interrupt, but we do have one last item up for auction to bid. We have something we believe will interest everybody tonight. A video gonna play. It showing two people walking in the middle of nowhere. And Deku, he does stare at the recording. As the people, they do go, well, they do get to see their backs. And he does watch them stop at a point and go to turn. Right now, Deku's seeing one of their faces and they look familiar. That's odd. This is the spot? Yes. Good. Now dig. The video cutting, showing a man sitting there in a chair, face lowered and a mask on. Him undoing the mask and gonna pull it free from his face. And he does suck in a breath and then release. We've planned this for quite a bit of time, but you had to ruin it. The man looking up, gasp of shock going off as Deku does a stare at All Might? Now I had a plan. And see, I don't appreciate that. We found something for you, Mr. Midoriya. We do hope you enjoy it. Right now, the item popping up for bid in a box. And it does go to have the name roll onto the screen. Deku looking down to the announcer, who does express in a bit more of a relaxed voice. The remains of a childhood. Inko Midoriya's ashes. These are the genuine article. Found by tracking down the people Dabi had in his personal circle before he passed. And Deku does freeze. It does at a play. That scene that he's had burned into his memory. Dabi melting his mother's skull. And he just does get a stare. The entire room fell silent. And Deku, he does get angry. Right now, Momo going to turn and look at Deku. And the moment she has to see his face, she does go to fall backwards and go to hit the floor. Right now, everyone in the room turning to look at Deku as Deku does get a stand. Pulling off his mask and going to drop it. Everyone, they do just stare at him. Before whenever Deku does turn when they do get to react, he does watch all of them. Right now, wiping the makeup free of his face. And they do get a good look at the wolf. Mr. Midoriya. Lightning does begin to crackle around him. And he does get to hear from the other predecessors that this might be a trap. Deku standing on the banister and then going to hop down. Right now, him floating towards the stage after jumping forward. And people do get to watch Deku float down. Right now, his feet, they do get to touch the stage. Him going to burst forwards and go to fly at the announcer, grabbing him by the throat and going to hold him up. As Deku, he does go to levitate barely off the ground and going to stare directly into the man's eyes, still holding a microphone. And he has yet to react. He does have a strange glazed over look. And Deku does turn annoyed with the man, not thinking clearly. And he does look at the box. He does try to think about it. Going to turn and look at everyone in the crowd. People, they do to see the wild anger in his eyes, the ferocity. And one thing that can be felt is the bloodlust in his gaze. He's looking around trying to find answers, trying to figure out who could have done this. And he does go to turn. Right now, his hand gonna shoot out with Black Whip and grab the box. It bringing it around as the tendrils do go to hold it. And he does go to ask if anyone knows who brought in this item. This cannot be real. This is a fake. It has to be a fake. If someone can actually give him proof this is a real item, then his tendril's gonna fall, and Deku's feet do to touch a stage. Him confused, as he doesn't feel his connection to his quirks cut off. Some people do gonna make a commotion, but Deku, he does feel danger. But danger sense doesn't go off. His connection to his quirks was cut with no warning. And he does start to leap backwards. Right now, him going to take several quick steps backwards, but whenever he does take the third step, the box that has already started falling, it does a blow. And Deku, he's sent reeling and flying backwards from the explosion. Right now, him flying through the curtains and going to be caught up in a tangled fire. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I will catch you guys in the next part.